hate me like one of your French hippos! Hello everyone, Automu the Violet Wizard here, and today we are continuing The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Last time we beat Catfish's Maw and got to explore a lot more of the island of Koholint thanks to the new item that we had acquired there, the hookshot, which also enabled us to get a couple very useful things for us as we push ever onward to finishing up our journey, including the very useful boomerang, which is easily one of the best items in the game. Very excited to have this thing now as we are progressing forward. So yeah, last session was good for a lot of things, and I am hoping to get a lot more done in this session, as we only got a little bit more of the island to explore, as you can see on the map here. We have almost seen everything there is to see on Koholint, but there's still a lot of stuff for us to do as we progress onward into the final sections of the game. So after clearing up the fifth dungeon, you are pretty much able to get started on the stuff you need to complete the to be able to reach the next area. So we are going to go ahead and get started on that, as we have quite a bit to go over here. So we're going to be heading back to the Face Shrine, which was an area that we had previously explored a little bit of because we had the ability to go to this place. But we didn't fully explore this place, as is something that would be useful to us later on in our journey. Just want to look around here and see if there's anything we could have missed in these areas, just so that I have a good idea on any possible secrets in this area. I don't think there is anything left for us to really see in terms of secrets that aren't plot important. So we'll just be progressing here at our normal pace. Something I like about the boomerang, just especially, it's really good against the enemies in this area, especially the Armos. Normally the best way to deal with these guys is to use the hook shot to stun them, but since we have the boomerang, we're actually able to defeat the Armos, which is always very good. And obviously these guys are returning enemies all the way from the first Legend of Zelda. You know, I've been talking a little bit about the original Legend of Zelda, and a lot of ways I could see both this game and A Link to the Past as improved versions upon the original Zelda. Just, they do so good at using the original formula of the first game into making just incredible experiences that are still timeless after all these years. Yep, we are now back at the Face Shrine, specifically the Southern Face Shrine. Let us go forward. So we got a new face here, an Armos Knight. This guy was a boss back in the original, this guy was an interesting boss fight back in A Link to the Past, I want to say. And this is definitely a fight that will test abilities. This thing is pretty much immune to most weapons. You are able to dash into this guy to deal damage, though it's not recommended. In terms of other strategies against this guy, hookshot's not really doing too well. So how about we go into a weapon that we have been using for quite a while now, the bow. So yeah, being able to jump in order to avoid his attacks also very good. And yeah, this guy is just easily cheesed if you use the bow. It's just so easy to rack up the damage against him. And by beating him, you got the face key. So yeah, I like the progression of the fight too, how the more you damage him, he loses his shield, then he eventually loses his helmet. Let me tell you, facing off against this thing in the Switch version of the game is so much rougher. I don't know what it was about how the game was structured in terms of its controls, but that fight is just so flippin' weird to control in the Switch version. I don't know. But there is more we can see here in the Face Shrine. There's a picture carved on the wall, but you can't see it because it's too dark in here. Hello there, Nate. Good to see you tuning in for this session. Now the room's lit up, let us check the mural. To the finder, the Isle of Koholint is but an illusion. Human, monster, sea, sky, a scene on the lid of a sleeper's eye. Awake the dreamer, and Koholint will vanish, much like a bubble on a needle. Castaway, you should know the truth. What? Illusion? There is a lot I would like to say about this moment, but I'll say that for a little bit later. I will just state that this scene really hit me as a kid with the shock value of finding that information. Hello, Mr. Owl. Woo! I see you have read the relief. While it does say the island is but a dream of the windfish, no one is really sure. Just as you cannot know if a chest holds treasure until you open it, so you cannot tell if this is a dream until you awaken. The only one who knows for sure is the windfish. Trust your feelings. Someday, you will know for sure. Well, on the plus side, we got the key we need. But yeah, that is just such an interesting moment that really changes up the dynamic of this game. Like, obviously the previous game in this series, A Link to the Past, had its own surprises with the part where you actually fail to save Zelda from being sacrificed by Aghanim and getting sent into the Dark World in order to fight off all of Ganon's minions. But I feel like this particular plot twist is a lot more effective because it just really shakes up everything we know about this adventure, but it also puts some things in some new context that I think definitely improves upon the overall story and a lot of the other things we've seen about the island. It would certainly explain why a lot of things in this world operate on such different rules compared to previous Zelda games. How you have a lot of talking animal characters, you see a lot of faces from a lot of different games with all the different cameo appearances from all the Mario enemies and from NPCs like Mr. Right. It definitely adds a lot of context that makes this world and the twist about it feel more earned, if that makes sense. It's very nice we're able to get that piece of power, if only we can hold on to it for a little longer. And of course, we cannot progress forward unless we have the hook shot. Let's go over here and put the key in. The way is now open. Let's go in. Level 6, Face Shrine. So this is definitely going to be one of the more complex dungeons we have seen on our journey. To start off, I highly recommend going to the left side of the dungeon first. So we have a pathway that is barred to us over there. We definitely want to take that path. And we got some new faces here. These are Wizrobes, a very classic enemy of the series all the way back from the first game. These guys you cannot directly kill with your sword. You need to beat them through other means, usually from bombs. They'll of course disappear for a while, and then they will pop up again in order to shoot their magic spells at you. They can be a little tricky to deal with, but you are able to deal with them in a few good ways. It's got this big elephant statue here. and there's not much we can really do about this thing. It's too heavy for us to lift. So, let's press onward. Right away, I really love the atmosphere of this dungeon, I want to say. It feels unlike anything we have seen in this adventure up to this point. Really like the color palette here. And, of course, the music just really heightens the mood of this area. Especially after the big revelation that came from going to the Salvern Face Shrine. As you can see there is a little indicator of a wall we can break open. There are a lot of pathways we can take here, and some of the pathways I feel are more important to investigate than others. I want to quickly take this path first. Alright, there's an owl statue. We'll have to come back to that later. Yeah, this is definitely one of the more complicated dungeons that we have seen in this adventure. It's a lot of rooms with a lot of different things for us to see. And a lot of these rooms overlap in a lot of ways where you are constantly dealing with different threats all throughout the floors and have to cross over to different areas as you journey forward. Thinking about what I want to do with these stairs. Alright, there is a chance that we are meant to go this way right now. I'm trying to think about how we are supposed to progress here, as this area is definitely very complicated to go through. Alright, that one enemy is really harsh on the eyes there. Okay, we have this room. What's its position? Okay, yeah. So we got that closed off section. We're not able to progress until we hit until we are able to hit one of those crystals. So let's head back this way. And this part is a bit interesting. So we got the crystal there. If we hit that, that blocks the pathway. So we're gonna have to bring out our bombs. Let's hit that one, and then we can go over this way. But yeah, going back to the music in this particular dungeon, this is one of the areas where I feel like the music is especially effective in the Switch version of the game. Like, the remix of this theme is so good. They added some extra parts to the melody that just really amplifies the themes that are going on here. So I just want to demonstrate right here that you can stun the Wizrobes if you use the hookshot. Is the boomerang effective? No, it really isn't. Alright, let's put our bombs down then. So yeah, I guess bombs are the way to take these guys out. So we can see here, there are those statues we saw before. So fairy we can grab from that right away. Let's open this chest. You got a more powerful bracelet. Now you can almost lift a whale. So yeah, the item that we get from this dungeon is a more powerful bracelet. And as you can probably imagine, we can use it to pick up these statues, among other things. And now we're back into this room. Alright, now thinking about different areas we go to, we are now able to access this part of the map. So we're gonna go back this way, deal with the threats here. Alright, come here, Wizrobe. These guys are certainly a bit of a nuisance to deal with. I do like the designs of the Wizrobes. They're one of the enemies whose design changes very drastically between games, which I feel definitely heightens the different, definitely make them stand out between their different appearances. And this one, of course, they got the classic, like, wizard look with the big hat. That is always a staple of cartoony wizards. Alright, now I feel for this room. I think we want to activate this switch before we go onward. Let's activate that. Then we are gonna activate this switch to go forward. Yep, I got it right. Yep, I knew there'd be these guys in here. I believe there might be a chest for us. Depending on if we're able to get this here. Also nice to show you can use the arrow in order to not only hit those switches, but you can also damage Wizrobes with it. So yep, that is another good use for the bow and arrow. Although it takes a lot of hits to kill those guys, so probably recommend the bomb strategy more than using the arrows. At last, you got a map. It's about time we found this thing. So as we can see here, the map is one big face. We've been mainly exploring the left side of the face right now. Or from its perspective, we're exploring its right side. Yeah. As I said before, you want to do the left side of the face first, because that is how you get the bracelet. Alright, throw the pot at that in order to do that whole thing. There might be a switch around here we could use. Alright, we got a compass here at least, which is very good. Thinking about where we need to go. Let's go up here first. And now that we hit that switch, we're able to go here. And I believe we want to throw that statue into that. It's very good. You got 100 rupees. You're happy. And if we go up these stairs, we are over here in this section of the rapid ride that we checked out in the last session. And by checking that chest, we can get a secret seashell. Which is very good for me because that is 20 shells, which I believe is the amount we need in order to obviously progress onward. Alright, now this room is interesting. We got these horse heads, and we need to make them fall in a certain way. So the movement of these heads are interesting. I didn't really know about it at first, but in the Switch version of the game, it made me realize the deal with the horse heads. So those things that you pick up and throw are actually based on the typical old knight chess piece. How they're obviously shaped like a horse. I see. That would definitely want to go for. And yeah, that was something I didn't realize when I first played this game, but now I definitely get because of how they were changed up in the way they actually are used in the Switch version. But yeah, you got these knight pieces, and you have to throw them in a certain way so that they fall flat on their bottom. And the thing is, when you throw them, they move in the same way that you would typically move a knight piece in a game of chess. How they always go like 2 spaces ahead and then 1 space down. Or up, depending on their hit that, so we'll just go over here. But yeah, the Nightheads were something I didn't really get when I was a kid, but now I get the whole deal with them, and I feel like it definitely makes this whole puzzle a bit more interesting now. There's definitely something I really didn't grasp that well when I was a kid. Alright, the boomerang is definitely good for taking out those anti-fairies. So that's another good use for that. Alright, can we stun these guys, please, and then we'll bomb them. There we go. And by taking those guys out, we get a key. It might actually be the first key we've ever picked up in this dungeon. And with that, we have basically done everything we are able to do in the left part of this area. So now we are free to move on to the next half of the dungeon. As I said before, this place is very big. I could warp to back to the entrance of the dungeon, though I don't want to be careful of that because there is the chance that we might be unable to actually do that. Also, like the secret room here is in the eye of the face. That's another nice little detail that I like about this. I know this part could be tricky. I don't think that is close enough to hit that. Okay, I think I know what we gotta do here. Alright, so we need to bomb that switch. Alright, rush back over here. Now we're able to get over to this side again. Alright, so we'll be heading back to the entrance of the dungeon, and then it should be a quick trip back to the... well, it's a trip over to the right side. And we've done everything we can do on that half. It's time to finally take on this side. So I believe these statues, if you pick them up, they might have something good for you. No? Okay. Alright, this room is going to be interesting. Because we have some floating tiles, a hazard returning to us from good ol' A Link to the Past, and the solution here is pretty much the same as it was back in A Link to the Past. Just wave your sword to destroy the tiles that fly at you, and then you're finally able to proceed. No matter which game those things appear in, they are just kind of obnoxious, and just meant to wear you out before actually getting to do what you need. Alright, we can break that one, and there's nothing in there. Alright, let's see what's on this side first. Okay, I know what is in there, I believe. Alright, this room, of course, I remember this area. We got a lot of these guys to deal with. Alright, took those two out. And then those ones go down. Alright, now just want to say for this area, I could recommend not going this way unless you don't have one of the... unless you don't have one of Crazy Tracy's magic potions up on top of the crystals to move forward. Yes, we know that solution game. I'm gonna have to bow and arrow these guys, aren't I? Alright, so that opens the path forward. So I'm not gonna grab what's in this chest because I do know what it is. It is one of the potions that you would normally buy from Crazy Tracy, so just a nice way to restock on your health should you run out. Yeah, we'll keep the hook shot for this part. It is very effective against the enemies here. Alright, this section I know can be a bit tricky. Alright, it's mainly just trying to navigate and remembering which one of the rooms we have to go to first, because, yeah, this area we're able to get that key, and we could tell that there is going to be another key in that room over there, so pretty much grabbed everything we needed from this section of the dungeon, so let's go head back. Right, don't need to deal with those enemies, so we can just press onward. I want to think about what items I'm going to bring here, because I know at some point going forward, we're going to want to be prepared for a fight. Well, we have our sword powered up now, but it's not really going to be too effective going forward, as we shall see very soon. So that pot had some bombs, which is a good indicator of what you need here. Gotta blast the wall down. I actually like how there's no real indicator of the fact that you need to bomb that wall. You just need to piece it together from the context of the room itself. But now we got ourselves a mid-boss here. This is a Masher. Or Smasher, I think. This guy will pick up the metal ball and throw it at you, and then just have to pick it up and throw it back at him. So yeah, not really that complicated of a boss. I actually really like the noises this boss makes, because it sounds like you're fighting a big puppy. I don't know if that makes it better or worse with how we have basically exterminating this thing, but yeah. And I believe this is an instance of Lost Wood Syndrome, because we have the path forward, but it just loops back over to the room where we fight Smasher. So yep, I guess that's another part of the illusions that can be found in this place, you know? And this room is pretty simple, things considered. Oh, we got another one of these. And we definitely want to stay here and hit all of these. We could technically leave this room, but our compass indicated that there is a key in this room, so we want to stay. Once you hit all the tiles, a key will drop. And given the pathways here, yeah, we'll want to take this path first. So we're looping back over to a section of the map we had actually seen previously, just weren't able to reach before. Once again, we got these knight statues. Think of a throw. Alright. Alright, we need more room to do this. Alright, we're able to get you there. And... oh, come on. I had this before, it's not really working. There we go. Now you really gotta be careful with the way you're throwing those boys. Alright, now in this room we want to dash to get past these little thwimps. Again, we're seeing more Mario enemies as we're going through here. Alright, now this room... we got to meet our buddies, the Pulse Boys, again. Alright, I was wondering if the boomerang would actually be able to kill those guys. Nope. But we can blast them apart with our bombs, at the very least. Let's stun this guy. And we should be done with you. And let's move forward. Alright, I forgot about that. We can actually use the boomerang to kill the bubbles, which is very good. And you're always guaranteed to get a fairy by killing them. So that's very nice. Alright, we're back in a very similar layout to the one room we saw before. And the only thing we got from that is rupees. We are very close to maxing out our rupee count already. Guess one of the other good things about this dungeon, it gives you so many rupees, which are good in case you need to buy the bow, since it's so dang effective in this place. I'm thinking for what we need to do forward, we might need to actually hit this switch for one of the things we need to take care of. Alright, so that one's gonna go up. And assume this will go down. Maybe. Alright, you move that way. There we go. Oh man, this dungeon is actually kind of exhausting to go through here. I do really like the face shrine. It has some good atmosphere to it, especially with the revelations that come to getting to this area, and obviously the other good reasons to like this place. Has some definitely cool puzzles involved with this area as well. But we have the return of another mid-boss here, the Dongo Snake. It's been a while since we've seen these guys, so it's nice to get face-to-face with them again. There you go, bud. Just eat them up. Come on. Almost had you. There you go. Takes care of that guy, so we're now able to access this area that we had seen before. Now we can actually take the upper path, use our key to break that open, and when we're up here... Oh, I remember the solution to this room. This is fun. To open a treasure chest, use the pots around it. Yep, you need to hit that chest with a pot in order to open it. This game really does change things up as you progress forward through it, doesn't it? With that, we got the Nightmares key. Now you can open the door to the Nightmares lair. Let's hit that because I think we might need it. And at this point, yeah, we are pretty close to being finished things up. We just need to get to the Nightmares lair, which should be pretty easy to get to. Oh boy, we gotta deal with these guys again. Yep, let's go with this. Definitely appreciate the invincibility frames that the hookshot is giving me. Very good for dealing with these Wizrobes so I don't have to avoid their magic. I want to go up here. Ah, dang, we lost our sword power. Not like it would have been very effective against the boss we are going to be going up against anyway, so... it's okay. Since we're retreading some old ground here, I guess I could talk about some of the things that have been going on lately. Or maybe not, because we're all caught up now. So back in here, got this black hole that we've seen a few times. Just want to get all the enemies to spawn in and get sucked down, so that we can move onward. I believe the boomerang can actually defeat the black holes. Alright, so we got a new enemy here, Deimos. This is a classic enemy that appeared back in The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past. These guys will shoot at you and are just a general nuisance. So whenever they enter your field of vision, they will attack, and it's a pain. Just blow up. Nope, you're close. Alright, please die. Well, that worked. And I believe in this room, if we light the torches here so that they're all light up, that turns the bubbles into fairies, so you can replenish your health. I definitely appreciate that. Alright, now right away I want the sword and bombs as we go into this fight. It's time for the boss. Whoa. Hello there. Hey, dummy, need a hint? My weak point is... Whoops, there I go, talking too much again. Say hello to Facade, the boss of the Face Shrine. So we got a couple threats here as we are taking this guy on. The floor tiles will shoot up at you, and just need to whack them with your sword. And while this is going on, you are just free to damage Facade with the bombs, as those are his weak points. And once you have dealt with all the tiles and pots in the room, the floor will start opening up and trying to swallow you. This fight's a lot more involved in the Switch version, I want to say, which definitely makes it better. Like, Facade will actually move to different parts of the floor, and the attack where the floor opens up is definitely a lot more intimidating. But, yeah, just put bombs down, and this guy is done. Okay, listen up! If the windfish wakes up, everything on this island will be gone forever! And I do mean everything! We got our heart container. You got the coral triangle. Collecting these instruments suddenly doesn't feel all that fulfilling now that we have an idea on what's going to happen once they're all collected. Mountain. Something calls from the mountains. Hello there, Mr. Owl. Hoot! The many monsters of this island fear that the windfish is about to awaken. The monster's power is real. They may conquer the island and destroy their foes. That day may come soon. Now go to the mountain tower. Fly like a bird. Hoot! Hoot! A very apt choice of words, Mr. Owl. But yeah, it really starts to click in the desperation in the nightmares as you are advancing further along in the story, and they realize that you actually might be able to wake the windfish, and they're getting more and more desperate to try to stop you. As we heard from the slime meal when we beat it, things on this island aren't what we assumed they were, and Facade basically confirms our suspicions. Should the windfish wake up, the island of Koholint and everyone in it who are in his dreams may go with it. But with that said, we have a bunch of seashells to redeem. Once you have gotten 20 seashells, my job here is finished. You got a new sword! You should put your name on it right away. So we now have the level 2 sword. This is a great improvement to our original sword. So this one has the distinction of giving us the ability to fire sword beams whenever we're at full health. So it basically works the same as the Master Sword back in A Link to the Past. Which obviously is a good thing. I cannot sing enough praises about how good this sword is and just how useful it is for us on this journey. As you can see here, it deals more damage than your standard sword just normally, and the sword beams are just the icing on the top, allowing you to damage enemies from afar, so we don't need to constantly switch out to certain other weapons that hit a long range now, even though some of them are a bit better than this sword in terms of combat. So yep, I definitely like having this upgraded sword. It is very good, and why I recommend collecting as many of those seashells as you can. I think in the standard game of Link's Awakening, there are at least 24 secret seashells in here. And I know for a fact that the amount of secret seashells is much higher in the Switch version, just to make sure that you're able to take care of all that. With that said, we have a new task ahead of us, which is to go up in the mountain in order to get our next instrument. Before I do that, though, I want to stock up on supplies first. Let's grab a couple bombs. And do we need arrows? Yeah, I believe so. We'll just top ourselves off. Thanks a lot and come again! I definitely will, sir. Alright, so for the next thing we need to do on our adventure, we were told by the owl that in order to get to the next instrument, we need to know how to fly like a bird. So we were able to push this statue now that we have the level 2 bracelet. And if we go down here, there's a skeleton of a bird. There's probably a way we could deal with that. Before we go take that on, I want to quickly head back to the library, because in the last session, I forgot to actually check a library book and check what it said. So we'll do that now. Fun with bombs. Read this book? Sure. After you put a bomb down, you can pick it up by pressing the button again. You can then throw it by pushing the button one more time. Did you know that? Definitely useful advice. Bombs are really good for dealing damage against a lot of threats, so that's obviously good advice. The properties of warp holes. There are some warp holes on Koholint Island. You can warp to and fro using these holes. If you jump into the warp hole at which you arrived, you'll go to the next one in the sequence. You can only warp to a hole you have seen with your own eyes. So yeah, that is obviously some good advice in there, too, about the various warp holes we've seen across the island, which have been very good at showing us a bunch of different things to do. Alright, but now for what we actually need. This part is a little obscure, and you're probably not going to figure this out unless you talk to Orira in the various telephone huts around the island. But there is a section of the map that we had not visited yet in our journey, which is this area down here. I wanted to save discussion about this area for a little bit later, because this is an area that you wouldn't normally be able to really do until much later on. So I'm pretty sure that to complete this area, you need the hook shot. And this is the first point we're going here is actually required. So that's why I saved it until this time. Well, goodbye sword beams. We'll get that back at some point. Okay, can we actually dash across here properly? I've been doing this so effortlessly before. Why was I suddenly screwing that up? It's got a bunch of signs here. Try again from the start. So where exactly is the start? So I believe this area, if we check the map, said, if we check the map, this is the Signpost Maze. It's a pretty small area on the island, but definitely an interesting one. So the main gimmick of this area is the signposts. So we want to see if we can find the first one, which obviously tells you try again from the start, which means you have to check the right sign. It's being like all kinds of difficult here. I really don't appreciate falling in there. Alright, here we go. Go this way. So we basically need to read the signposts in a specific order in order to progress through here. Go this way. Alright. So now, this is why I said you need to come here after obtaining the hook shot, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do this part. Go this way. Alright, so now we have to head up. Please get on my way. And go this way. So yep, it's a little tedious, but still an interesting puzzle. Let's just checking all of these different signs. Go this way. Then want to go this way. And go this way. Go over here. And go down. And now we go to the left. Great, you did it! Your reward is this way. Let's head on down. Well, that's a familiar face.
Ribbit, Ribbit, I'm Mamu on vocals. But I don't need to tell you that, do I? Everybody knows me. Want to hang out and listen to us jam? For 300 rupees, we'll let you listen to a previously unreleased cut. What do you do?
Let's pay the money.
Thank you very much, Croak.
You've learned the Frog Song of Soul. It's a very moving tune. It can even liven up unliving things.
If you play this song, you'll make everything around you feel more alive.
So, yeah, we got another cameo appearance here. This time by Wart, the main villain of Super Mario Bros. 2. Definitely an interesting appearance here. And actually makes quite a bit of sense considering that both of his video game appearances have taken place inside of dreams. Yeah, with that taken care of, we now have everything we need to progress onward in this adventure. Let us head back to the town now. And we are going to head back down here where we saw the bird skeleton. As you can probably guess, now that we have Mamu's song, we'll want to play it here.
We've learned necromancy!
Wow, the rooster's recovered. He seems very friendly. So yeah, we got a big ol' blue rooster following us now. Funny enough, this isn't the first time that a blue rooster has appeared in a Zelda game, although this is certainly the first time, as later games would also have one appear for certain quests. And obviously, just very cool to see this fellow. As you could see here, when you pick him up, you are actually able to fly in the air, which is definitely effective. You can avoid a lot of enemy encounters this way, and it's just very fun. And he'll obviously be the key we need in order to obtain the key we need to actually get to the next area. But there's something else I want to do before we head back to up the mountain. So we got ourselves accompanied by a nice little fowl here. And very soon I'd like to talk a bit more about the stuff that's been going on in my life, but I want to wait until after we take care of this next point. So back over here, there was this big pit that we couldn't access before. And now that we have the rooster, we're able to fly across that pit and go down here. You got 20 rupees. Joy. Well, that's all we could get there. I was kind of thinking there would be something else in that area, but I was wrong. Alright, with that taken care of, we need to head back up to Tal Heights in order to take on the challenges we need before we head off to the next dungeon. And we'll definitely want to take care of that, as the next area is going to be real interesting for a number of reasons. Buddy, just go over there. While we're up in this area, how about we check out some of the... Nah, I kind of figured we don't really need to check any of the photos, since we've just already obtained a good deal of them, and we don't really need to check any at the moment. So, back over here in Tal Heights is our friend the owl. Woohoo! Your path is not easy, but you are almost there. Go east. The windfish is getting restless. So yeah, back up here in Tal Heights is where we need to progress forward. We already explored a good deal of this area after we had obtained the... after I acquired the hook shot, but I didn't fully explore everything we could do up here because I wanted to wait until after we got the flying rooster, as he'll be necessary for us doing the next big thing in the plot. So I want to get this taken care of before we get started on the next area. So yeah, while we're just going back up through these areas we've previously been to before, how about we get started on some discussions about some stuff that's been going on lately, because there's been a quite deal that I have been doing. So one thing that is a little interesting the last couple of days is I've been checking out a few channels that I hadn't previously seen, and just trying to get myself... what am I trying to say here? I've been watching some new channels that I hadn't previously seen. It's been really cool to discover some new content. So namely, for one channel I was checking out was one that I believe is called Spilling the Milk. It's kind of interesting discussion / reactionary channel with these guys talking about various media, mostly cartoons. and one of the main subjects they were talking about was the show Total Drama Island. So I was checking out a bit of their videos and their reaction to things, and very entertaining. I definitely recommend. But yeah, thanks to our rooster friend, we're now able to fly over here and obtain the bird key. Yeah, I previously showed the location of this key before, but obviously we couldn't do this until after obtaining the flying rooster, which you can't do until after Dungeon 6. So now that that's taken care of, we can finally progress onward to the next dungeon. And right before we get to the next dungeon, I think we are going to end things off in this session, just because I want to take care of these dungeons in a few chunks. But notably, if we go back here, now that we have the blue rooster, wow, amazing! That rooster's actually flying! It's just like I said, eh? Have you tried to hold him over your head? Cluck, cluck! So yeah, that is your big hint that you're able to pick up the rooster in order to fly. It's very nice that they have this NPC comment on all that for you. Yep, as we are now up here, there's a lot more for us to get to see in Tao Tao Heights, obviously. Okay, that guy's an enemy. I believe there could potentially be a secret shell here. So that could be something of note for you, but we don't have... There's no reason for us to obtain that at this point, now that we have the level 2 sword. I don't think there is any real name for this particular sword once you obtain it, besides like the level 2 sword, which, I don't know. You could probably call it the Master Sword if you like. It's not really that necessary. Yeah, in terms of some other stuff that's been going on, I managed to finish up my recent playthrough of Earthbound, and very happy that I did, because obviously I love this game immensely, and getting to play it again was really fun, especially with the features on the Switch, and yep, it was a good time. Very happy with how my run went, especially with my really good luck getting the Sword of Kings. And it definitely has me excited to someday stream the game. It's not going to be for a while, but I will eventually be doing Earthbound for the channel. I'm kind of thinking about some of the things in this area. There might be something up there. Nope, it just looked a little suspicious. Oh, this room. I think this room is a bit... I seem to recall this room being infamous for a few reasons. Let's grab that chest there. So I think... Well, I believe this area is unique in that... And you only have one shot at getting these chests, because once you leave the room, they will empty their contents. Yeah, think about the path I want to take here. I think I already messed that up. Damn. Alright, push that back. Yeah, if we... You come back here, we can see that all the chests have emptied themselves. Which sucks. I don't like it when I lose out on my progress for anything. This room is all kinds of tricky to navigate. What are we gonna do? Let's move that over and just move that down. And we are over here to grab this chest, which just has some more rupees. See, I'm not too bummed about losing out on the items here, because all you get from it is rupees, which we don't really need by this point in the adventure. Yep, so now that I'm done my playthrough of Earthbound, I've been jumping back into another game I've been meaning to finish for some time, which is Octopath Traveler. Been kind of taking breaks from certain games and getting back into them in a few of the different months lately, just because I don't want to feel too burnt out of playing the same game for months at a time, you know? You are near the Eagle's Tower. Beware of the bird. I'll definitely keep that in mind. See, I've been playing through some Octopath Traveler in the last couple of days, and things have been going well with my adventure. I actually managed to clear up the story involving the character Ophelia, which definitely was a very nice conclusion to her story. I really did enjoy the overall story with her and her sister. It was an interesting experience. And I am currently making progress in the story of another character named Cyrus. And I'm hoping to get a bit more progress with his story later today after this stream. Should be pretty good to get all that done in time. Alright, is there any way we could kill this guy? No. So those guys are just too tough for us to beat normally. Just want to make sure there wasn't anything in there. Alright, let's get back over here. And want to hook shot over. Alright, now that we're down here, we want to bomb this wall here. There's also that cave over here. This area is definitely giving me a lot of flashbacks to Death Mountain in A Link to the Past. Which, of course, this game is giving me a bunch of A Link to the Past throwbacks. Alright, we should be close to the entrance to the dungeon here. To go up here, and I feel like this room has some more stuff for us. Just want to check if there is anything hidden in these walls. Doesn't look like it. Alright. Is there anything up here? I know I'm very paranoid about the hidden walls. Just, the Zelda series is rather infamous for their hidden secrets, you know? Okay, now we're up here. And would you know it? There's the Eagle's Tower. Now that we have the key, let's insert it into the slot. And the entrance is open. Alright, we've gone over an hour now, so I guess this will be where we are stopping this adventure for the time being. But don't worry, I have another day off tomorrow, so we'll be able to continue onward with this adventure in the next session, and hopefully get a lot of good progress in. So next time in The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, we'll be heading into the Eagle's Tower in order to continue our quest to wake the Windfish. Have a good day, and take care.